some posts are blogs, others are not. So what I wanted was an archive feature that only looked at the blogs. And so we went and found a special plugin for that, and it didn't quite work. It just, you know, you get what you pay for.
Well, this was a free one.
We couldn't find one that did exactly what we wanted. It did as advertised. It didn't as performed.
It died after like a certain, it would go through 5. It wouldn't show anymore. But that's a separate thing, and we're going to get into plugins. And so why you would show archives if there's some time-based information you're providing. Why you have categories, you can have, I'm thinking about your site. You could have categories that are tailored towards parents, categories tailored towards educators, maybe categories tailored towards, I don't know your business that well, maybe towards really young kids, elementary, and you would categorize your post. A post or a page could be in multiple categories, but if somebody clicked for educators, they would get the things relevant to them, and the page would be populated. Canoe paddles versus gears versus, I'm thinking of different ways. Categories let you create pretty quickly separation between things and topics, almost. Okay, widgets are easy. Plugins are funner, but I wanted to spend more time on plugins. Before we move on to plugins, any more widget questions?
So there are different widgets available in different themes.
It comes with your theme.
You have to really know what widgets are available to pick your theme.
Well, when you're picking a theme and looking at it, you don't always know if it's something that's part of a widget or if it's part of some like user interface of maybe a form that you fill out. And on one hand, you don't really care if it's a widget. You want to be ready to deal with however they present it to you. So whatever they throw your way and you like the theme, work with it. Because some themes will have a very sophisticated like forms you fill out. Sophisticated in a nice designer way that's very simple, fill in the blanks. And others will put things into widgets. And just be ready for it. Yeah.
What's a tag cloud?
A tag cloud is, okay, so categories are one way to segment your content. Tags are even a little more detailed, and you would have food. Okay, I like food, so this one just comes to me naturally. You would have, say, a bunch of key ingredients, corn, tortillas, more detailed than, say, soups, appetizers. What's it? Horse meat. So you would have a more detailed thing. And then what you would see in the tag cloud is that the code would take all these tags, and the more often it appears, the bigger the text is. So if you're getting corn, because that's gluten-free, right? Corn, it appears in a lot of dishes, it would be a larger font than something that doesn't appear as often. Salsa, I don't know. And it automatically weights it for you and builds that cloud. So it's like a rectangular box of a bunch of words, and they're weighted by bold and size for how often they appear. And you can, through a plugin, automatically create tags, which is a little dangerous because it'll just create a whole bunch of stuff. Or you can enter your tags when you create a post. What's that? Oh, you can sort of... I did a Christmas card site a couple years ago. And I did all of these offbeat cards on them through affiliate. I had a lot of bird cards. I had a lot of dog cards. And I ran a tag cloud because I would get parrots and parakeets, and I would see, even on my own tags, which ones I was really hitting a lot of. I had dog breeds as the cloud. And once I saw that my golden doodles was too big, I started doing other ones because it can guide you in that way too. But it's also a nice little navigation system for people who have a really niche interest in your topic.
I would advise against any automating of tags, and here's a specific reason why. There's lots of good reasons why not to automate, but we use a tag cloud for the Officexpats blogs, and it says here are the most used tags, but that's really a lie. It's really all of them. So your tag cloud can get really huge, and it's kind of full of some small text about tags that you don't really care about. So there's no real cutoff. It actually would be better if you could sort of cut it off. So you don't want your tag cloud to be artificially large. You want every tag in there to be
relevant.
useful and relevant.
Yeah, because it can just run amok, and you can get all sorts of things in there.
Where do you select that? Where do you select the...
To put a tag cloud or the size, that's handled by the widget or the plugin. It will set the formatting for you. Okay, plugins. Plugins are really cool because plugins, think of it as something that plugs into what you've got in your theme, your website, with your content. And I love my Lego analogy. And the themes, we saw this one last couple weeks. The themes give you the yellow house versus the church in the with the steeple in the back versus a little beach house. Now, plugins are the things that add some functionality. They do something. Some do little things, some do big things. The SpongeBob Bikini Bottom Lego set, you've got your DJ set up. It has a function. It may be useless, but it's doing something. It's like a tool. It adds on, it plugs right into your pineapple under the sea. You've got a teeter-totter. You've got this little bar set up, which it cracks me up in a kid thing. I guess it's root beer or something, but it seems like it would be, looks like a Mai Tai type of bar. They do things, and they work with your, this would be the theme. It works with it, and it does some things. It can be, a plugin could be this steering ship's wheel door. It opens the door. It performs some kind of function. So I do love plugins. And most of what I'm going to say applies to self-hosted WordPress. There are many more limitations in WordPress.com. I don't know exactly what they are. I work within the WordPress.org self-hosted arena. But I do know that you cannot go in and on WordPress.com and just find some plugin somewhere and add it to your site. It has to be approved. It has to be within their universe. So just keep that in mind as I talk about all these plugins, depending on what platform you're on. So plugins are computer code. It's in PHP. It enhances the existing functionality, or it can add totally new functionality. Like I was saying, some are little, and some are big, and some are kind of medium size, and some add very little functionality. Some are behind the scenes. And they are like themes. There are free plugins, and there are paid plugins. There are thousands, millions, I don't know how many, of free plugins. And some are really simple to use. You don't do a whole lot. We'll start out with that theme checker that I showed last week. That one's really easy. And there are some that have a learning curve with them. Now, a lot of them deal with business marketing, with email sign-up lists, fundraising, appointments. You're a dentist. You can schedule your appointments that way, or a hair salon. Bed and breakfast, you can manage affiliates, like you have your own affiliates, or you can be an affiliate of somebody else. There's lots of social media plugins. Lot of things for content, for photographers, galleries, for painters. And there's a lot of the really core ones are what I call infrastructure. They are the things that will provide you Google Analytics traffic data for free. They will help you with your XML sitemaps. These are on the list. And e-commerce plugins, shopping carts, taking credit cards, and lots of things that you don't even think about. Randy and I, our business, we have done some systems that one of them is, we nickname it, your barn door is open. So we have this hardware equipment that's in a barn. It's really in a barn. And his cousin has goats that are really crafty and can open the barn door. And so we have these sensors, and it's hardware, and it through WordPress plugins and WordPress capabilities, it sends a text message to them up if they're at the house or if they're out in the field. Hey, your barn door's open. You better go get these goats and get them kind of rounded up. Or if he's not around, he can text someone else. And they have a private discussion area, whoever he deems okay, his wife, other people, neighbors, that they can log in and check on things. So it's all run through WordPress. It's all sending to SMS text messages. They don't have broadband at the barn. It's close to the house, but it's down a hill and you can't really see it. And it's too far for Wi-Fi, but text messaging works. And that's just something that it's unbelievable how you can push WordPress and what you can do. And in fact, this is also running in Amazon Cloud. So we're not even like hosting it. So you can do all sorts of really cool things. And I think it's just really getting started with the different things plugins can do. The ones that are in the WordPress repository, the directory, are considered safe and tested. And I will show you when you go to wordpress.org and you click plugins, that that's where you can get those plugins. We can also access them through plugins, and I'll show you that. But I wanted to let you know you can browse plugins. They have tags. Don't overuse plugins. Don't load up a ton of plugins and let them run. They take up resources. They can slow your site down. If you're not using it, deactivate it, delete it. And I suggest that you look for plugins that are fairly recently updated. WordPress changes fairly often. WordPress of 4 years ago is going to be way out of date from plugins you want now, or really...
Are you going to go over a list of your preferred plugins?
It's on the list that I circulated, and I will talk about that a little bit. So you want to look for, and everybody's business is different. So I will have some preferred plugins, but these are the really basic ones that reach across all businesses. You will have your own unique needs and something you're really wanting. So when you're out looking for plugins, look for that it's recently updated. This is off the WordPress website. You see this last updated, and this was just a month and 5 weeks ago. It's great. Yay, that's great. Lots of good reviews, overwhelmingly 5 stars. And you're not going to see that very often, but it's good to look at that.
So can you trust that it's overwhelmingly 5 stars, that it hasn't been?
That it's not total garbage?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I think somebody who had a really crappy plugin, that's not going to have that many gold stars.
You can really trust it if they have a large number. So if you see just 5 or 6 reviews and they're all 5-star, somebody
Right.
might have been able to pull that.
But
the number,
Once it crosses 1,000.
yeah,
3,000 out of, it's so overwhelmingly positive. And I use this one, and this one is a good plugin.
And you're one of the stars.
I haven't rated it.
Oh.
I think most people don't rate things. Do you? I've really not gone back and rated it. The first one I'm going to show that I talked about last week is this theme authenticity checker. It's not used as much. It's funny what Randy just said, how many stars, but still it's overwhelmingly positive. And this one's not updated quite as recently as the sitemaps, but it's for what it's doing last June. I'm fine. That's fine. That's close enough.
point out the difference between the downloads and how many were rated.
Oh, there you go. So up in here is downloads. Almost 160,000 downloads. And WordPress keeps track of this. And they just with a counter. They're not counting who is downloading it or that you put it on your site. It's just a counter that runs. And you can see the differences in how many times something's downloaded. So look at the difference between these. This is almost getting close to 10 million. So it's a lot more popular, a lot more used of a plugin. And I've probably downloaded it 30 times, I don't know, maybe more than that, because when I install it on a site, I go and it's just part of setting up a site. It's in I call it a base site list. Every site I do gets this, whether it's for myself or for somebody else. Theme Authenticity Checker is not that well known. It's a really good plugin. I read about it a couple years ago about why you should not download free WordPress themes and always run this. And I do, and I love it, and it's amazing what you find.
So, say again its purpose.
It is, were you here last week? Yeah. Okay. It is the one that would show if a theme was good, or if it had encrypted code, or could be putting malware or something kind of bad links into your site that you want to be aware of. So that'll be the first one we're going to install. One, because I consider it essential. I found some really bad things in free themes. I always run it, and it's really easy to work with. Okay, so let's go over to install it. Whoops. I have to find my right. So we're still logged in. We're going to go to plugins. I'll just go to installed plugins. Last week when I did this class, I had this theme or this plugin installed because I had been researching different themes to show. Well, I uninstalled it so that we can start from scratch and see how it gets in there. So we're going to add new. It's up at the top. And here's just a side. Here's a type of tag cloud. Do you see how some of them are larger and some are small? YouTube's little, widget is really big. These are just based on the searches searches is probably based on what tags that the plugins have that are out there. So these are the tags that the plugin has been given, not what it's been downloaded. So it's called site. You do a search, then TAC, something like that. Because I don't know the exact name. Theme Authenticity Checker, TAC. And it gives you a little short synopsis. It tells you a little bit about the theme, how many stars. Not as much as the WordPress page, but you don't even have to go to the wordpress.org site to look at the theme. You can get the information about the theme. Is this what I want? Is this the right one? What does this do? Who is it? And that kind of overview. So I'm just going to click Install Now. Are you sure you want to install this plugin? And I do. I know it. I love it. And it's a really small plugin. It goes fast. And it gives you, look at the messages up at the top. Are people installing it? It's like we're really getting their download count up. And then you get to this screen and you get a choice of activate plugin or return to the plugin installer. I'm going to activate the plugin because we're going to use it now. And different plugins behave a little differently. Some of them will create a brand new menu on the left, and some of them will add a menu item on the underneath appearance or plugins or settings, depending on what it's doing. So there's not a total consistency. This one, it deals with themes. It adds it under the appearance menu as TAC. So let's go check. I wish I had a theme up there that had problems, encrypted code, because what you would see, does anybody have one that's showing red or yellow? Now where it says there's potential problem. Oh, okay. If you're on WordPress.com, you might not be able to do this. So I always look. I want a theme that has green that says it's okay, because the ones that are red, it'll tell you why it's red. It's usually encrypted code, and if somebody's not going to be forthcoming to me what's in that code and they're going to hide something, they're usually up to no good. And delivering free themes is an easy way to put credit card ads, phone ads, who knows what ads, or different backlinks into your site that are going to appear really small or way off in an area that's off screen, but that the search engines would pick up on when they index your site.
Should you do this before you pick a theme?
Well, you can't run this until you install a theme. It may not be your active theme, but you can't run this on a theme that you don't. It's running this theme checker on anything that you have installed on your site or downloaded.
Isn't it too late then?
You're not running it. So, like I'm running, in this case, we're running 2011. It's showing us Bizway, Buttercream, the cupcake theme, and this exercise personal trainer theme. They are installed, but they're not running. So it just ran its little code check through that code that's not being running. So let's say the cupcake theme was hiding credit card ads or something worse, the different things they could do. It would show up instead of theme OK, it would be red that there's something there, and I would just delete the theme. But it's actually not running. because that code's sitting out there and it's just doing a scan. So until you run it, when you run the theme and it's actually your active theme, then you've got issues.
Not telling you about 2011.
Let's look. They appear to be sorted by alphabetical. So 2011, 2012. And I have seen themes that are like yellow warnings, and I've seen some with red. And I'm I exit that fast.
How reliable is this?
This is my first cut at this. There are other ways to do it. There's another more complex way to check themes it'll talk about the code, or it gets a little more complicated in how you interpret it. You can also Google something. You can put the theme, Wordpress theme name, and you can put issues, problems, exploits, or whatever your Google search is. You can put support, and a lot of times there are sites out there that will monitor themes, and they'll post notices about something, and something will turn up. And the more obscure the theme, the easier it is to check, or the weirder the name also, because there's not going to be that many search results, and you can find something. I've done enough computer programming. I know I've seen some sites and Randy has that I'm not going to run this on my site and your site. And I've heard of a lot of people being hacked. And it's part of being careful. So let's do another another plugin that's a little more complex. Or let's go through some of the essentials, because maybe somebody has a question. And then we'll do this other one. So essential plugins, it's really hard to come up with one list. We have somebody with a retail shop. We have food site. We have photographer. We have artist, professional services. There's a huge range, and everybody has their own unique needs. And plugins add so much great power that's where you can really add a lot to your site. But what matters for you would be irrelevant for another type of business. So I consider my essential plugins, the first one on my list, and these aren't in priority order. They're just how I typed them an hour before I got here. So they're in just what came to mind. The first one is an SEO plugin. The SEO is search engine optimization. You want something that will help you show up in the search engines. There's WordPress SEO by Yoast. That's what you're going to hear about if you can stay after the session, or all-in-one SEO pack. I generally use all-in-one SEO pack because I've had really good results with it. I've used Yoast in the past. It's really good. I've ranked sites fast and well, and they're easy to work with. Another one I consider essential is Google Analytics for WordPress. It gets you the code to put it into your site easily. Now you need a Google Analytics account. It's from Google. It's free, but you get great traffic reports. You get to know where people are coming from your site from, what search terms, what browsers they're using, a little bit about your audience. You can set up e-commerce goals. You can set up filters. It's an amazing free tool, and I highly recommend it. I use Google XML sitemaps for helping get found. The sitemaps are for the search engines. It's another one you should do. It's not that fun. It's not that glamorous. It's not like adding a really cool booking calendar, but it should be there. The theme authenticity checker. And another one is a backup plugin. This one's hard to come up with a recommendation. We were looking at this, Randy and I, and I've used WP. I recommend, the one on the list is Back WP Up. It looks like Back WPUP, and that makes it memorable. There are pros and cons with all the different WordPress plugins I've used for backups. I run a number of sites with WP Backup, I think it's called, but it gives me a false sense of security. All it's doing is updating the database. So Crystal uploads a whole bunch of photos. Those are images, it's media, it's in the content area. It's not getting updated in that. Your content, your paintings, your food pictures of recipes, it's just doing the database. Your posts, it's good, it's a big part of it, but there's parts of it that are missing. I want all of it updated. We've looked at backing up to Dropbox and Amazon Web Services, and there were some issues with that. So there's not one perfect solution. Right now, I'm picking this Back WP Up. It's better to do any of these, even if they're not perfect. Just do any backup, set it up for automated, So you can set it and forget it, send it off to a Google Gmail account where you get tons of free storage, and it's off your server, and you will be better than if you just doing one of them is better than not doing any of them. Because if anything were to happen with your server or you lose some posts, you can have somebody restore it, and it's not all totally gone. Yeah.
So server be HostGator?
If you're on, I think you're on HostGator. You're on GoDaddy. Or,
No, I bought the domain name from
Okay.
GoDaddy, and
Okay.
then it's HostGator. I guess this is what you told me to do.
Right. Okay. Well, because this is what I like. Because you're on. Okay. So when you get a backup, a lot of the one place you could store your backup is have a copy of it saved on the server where your website's hosted, which would be HostGator. The reason you don't want to do that is, say something happens, that hard drive fails, everything on that hard drive's wiped out, or somebody hacks that server. I'm making up things that rarely happen. But if something were to happen, your site and your backups would be gone. You want to put your backups somewhere else. I set them to automatically back up and be sent to a Gmail account because Gmail has so much storage. And it's just there. It happens. It's like I back it up. You can set it every day, every week, every hour. That's probably excessive, but depending on how often you update your site.
Have you ever had to use that?
Yes. In fact, this week, we moved 40 sites off a dedicated server to HostGator. And we were having trouble with Astonish Inc. Astonish Inc. was down. I don't know if anybody was checking it. And we lost some things, and some things didn't come through with the widgets. And so we tried some things, and it was late at night, and I tried this, and Randy was looking in PHPMyAdmin, looking through the database. Oh, now this is gone, but he was accidentally deleting stuff. But we were pulling it out of the backups that I had, and I knew it was there, but it just didn't come in quite as well. So we were trying to use that as a restore, and it was missing some things, and that's when he got into, let's find a better backup plugin. What we're doing isn't that great. But we got it. It's fine. It's good. This one's not done quite right. We're going to do a better article about this because it was really interesting. More good plugins are, I have at the bottom, W3 Total Cache or WP Super Cache, something that speeds up your site. A site that's faster is better in the eyes of Google. They use that for ranking sites. And you want one of those, not both. Oh, and also for the SEO plugins, you want one, not both. Just do one of those. And the next one is from the people who do WordPress, and it is for managing spam content. It used to be free for everybody. Now they charge if you are a business. There's a fee. If you don't have comments or a lot of comments, it's not worth it. But if you're doing a news site, a bloggy site where you want a lot of discussion, this might help you. It will automatically detect, or tries to automatically detect what comments are spam.
Which one is that?
The ASKIMET, Askimet. So it's trying to detect what comments are spam, and it sets them off into a certain bucket. It's pretty reliable. I run it on about 5 sites or more because it's grandfathered in as a freebie. The newer sites, I haven't paid for it because they're just not really comment-oriented. About 3 years ago, or up until about a year ago, comment spam was a humongous problem for websites because there's a lot of automated tools. It's not somebody sitting at their keyboard putting comments on your spam comments on your blog specifically. There's tools that do this automated, and they're trying to build backlinks. Well, backlinks in comments aren't as valuable like they used to be. So it's gone down a lot. So this one I recommend with reservations. If you're like Cooks Illustrated, you're familiar with highly recommended. This one I recommend with reservations because it's medium, depending on your needs.
I
Yeah.
understand we can set it up so that comments don't post until we review them.
You can do that.
Do you recommend that, or can you speak about that?
Yes, I generally do that because you get a lot of spam comments. Even if you get very few comments, 80% of them are probably spam, and you really don't want those on your site because it diminishes the quality, I think, of your site.
Let's go over that. How to do that?
Okay, reviewing comments. I don't have any on this site. I don't know if pages allow comments. Well, let's go here. See, I don't have any comments to look at, but they'll show up in this comments area. It shows up also on your dashboard.
Didn't we delete those?
I think I did. The WordPress installed something, and I just said, here's how you get rid of these. So under this right now area, over here, you'll see pending comments, ones that it thinks are spam, if you're running that plugin, how many you have approved. And then when you go to comments, you could click, I'm not going to have anything, but it would list the comments in this area, much like when you're working with posts and pages. There'll be a list of comments. You could say delete, spam, approve.
And it's just pending, so you just click on pending comments.
Yes, and you'll get a list of the ones that are pending.
And how do you make sure that they don't go on before you?
That is in your settings. I think this might be documented in the first handout. I'm not really sure. And right now, you don't do it that often. I think, oh, there it is. Because I do this once per site. I don't remember it exactly. And then on each page or post, there's something towards the bottom that you can turn comments on or off. Do you want me to scroll down? No.
The last.
I'm an administrator. Oh, so okay, we're looking at the default settings, which is kind of interesting. I would say an administrator must always approve the comment, and I would take off comment author must have a previously approved comment. About 5 years ago, I had a humor site that I left it on that to try, and somebody would do a real comment, and then the spam came in, and I run all these sites for profit intentions and fun, but it also is my learning exercise. It's my lab rat of, okay, I'll try this and see what happens. And you see the different ways people try to game a system. And I would rely on previously approved comments unless you're consistent with your audience and who you're getting comments from. And you know the people. If you have a local business and a little community that's known, then I would turn that on. But for the general population, I'd be a little careful. Okay. There's a couple more custom contact forms and Google Maps shortcode. I love the Google Maps shortcode plugin. If you have a retail location, it's a great way to add an interactive Google map to your site really fast. I could go through and show it, but I think I want to open it up for comments and discussion for things that we may not have covered because we're already at 12:50.
If you have WordPress.com versus .org, can you still do plugins? Because I'm not seeing a plugin thing on the site yet.
Probably not. And I don't have much experience with WordPress.com.
So I was fooling around, and I think if you want to do it, you have to add something.
Okay.
So,
That's part of WordPress.com. You just have a more limited universe. Questions? Barbie?
just going back to what you were talking about, the commented author previously approved. I mean, so many times, people who know if their computer gets hacked, then it would, even though you know them, would that affect it?
I don't think if their computer's hacked that it would be to send out comments to blogs. I've never heard of that. And I think they're going to do other things. They're going to send out to your email. They're going to get into your email and not into blogs that you've visited. There's a lot more action in your email account than I think the blogs you
Some of the
visit.
groups, for example, the word groups that,
Okay.
get information, all of a sudden somebody who regularly posts will get a lot of spam and show up.
Yeah, I don't.
Everybody will be the same on this, so.
That's usually because their account at that group, at your bulletin board somewhere, that was hacked.
Yeah.
And then people can come in as you and post comments as if they're you.
Okay, well, usually they refer back to that person itself, their computer guy, not the group itself, but.
Right, the computer, but it was the individual, they came into the individual.
Right, okay.
So I do want to have people find out the sites that everybody's built, and as you build them, and how it grows and goes along. So at some point, I'm going to set up some way of like finding out and take the time to work on it, and let me know where you're stuck. I do free office hours every Tuesday here at Expats from 11 to noon. And bring your problems, bring your questions. I schedule it right before these sessions for people that are coming here also to attend a Tuesday workshop. I am available for some one-on-one coaching and some work. I'm also going to start a monthly coaching group, so I can do small group coaching at a more affordable rate than, say, a one-on-one rate. And I don't have the details of that exactly figured out. So just go to Astonish Inc. If you're interested, let me know, get in touch. I will send out some emails as I start pulling all this stuff together. We get the videos from session 2. We're going to try to redo session 3. And the stuff is all going to go up on Astonish Inc. in some way in a more organized fashion. So if you want email updates, I've circulated a couple email lists. If you haven't put your name on that and want an email update about that, be sure to get me your email list. We can put this.
Just one really quick one. Unchecked allow people to comment, to post comments on new articles. It's the third one from the top.
Okay.
And does that mean there would be no comments on anything? The way you have it checked, or if you want comments on your blog posts but not your pages, would you want to check that?
Okay, this top section, these are the ones that can be changed for individual posts and pages. So you can override these top 3. Okay. So the one you were asking about, allow people to post comments on new articles. That would be going forward, but you can still override it. Is that what you...
So if you don't have that checked, you're not going to get any comments?
Correct. Unless I go back to a page and...
Is that how the pages are posted?
Well, I don't have any posts.
Okay.
And maybe I'll create a quick one and we'll see. And there's a little gotcha. This is why I'm pausing. Okay, this is turned on. Discussion. I didn't allow comments, so now I check it, I'll update it, and it will allow comments. Now, there's 2 little things I want to point out. Okay, and then you have to hit update. Okay, I'm on a page.
Yeah, I'm on a page.
Okay, this is, I think, what I'm headed to next. So I said there's 2 little gotchas. Okay, first one. Up at the top, there's this little gray, almost hidden screen options. Click it, and this thing expands, and you get more stuff. And you see these check boxes. You may not have comments checked. So clicking it turns it on, and it will show in your screen.
If you are clicking, show me where it is.
Okay.
What did you just click?
So we start off on the screen like this. It's up out of my reach, so I'd use my hand. It's up here under the howdy and your login name, screen options. It's really hard to see. You have to, this is why I want to point this out. It's got this drop down, it's gray, and you may was comments for anybody not checked, and now you see that and you can turn comments on and off.
Now, I turned that off, but I can still see on my page, leave a comment, and then there's leave a reply.
Okay.
Was that something somewhere else that you're supposed to be going?
Maybe Randy sees what.
That turns on whether you'll see comments on this edit page.
This
Little
page.
box will turn them on and off. That does not turn on comments.
This turns on whether you see
That box down there.
this
that's what
discussion
will turn
area
on comments.
and this comments. It will show, it's what shows up on the page. Let's turn it off and let's see what happens. Let's uncheck it.
And it's really discussion that you want to do for turning comments on and off.
Discussion and comments. We turn that up. Whoops. And that section's gone. Both those sections are gone for discussion and comments. So if you're not seeing discussion or comments on your page, then look for those screen options. They're screen options. They're what's showing on your screen. It's not for how your WordPress is configured. It's just your options. And that is tricky. Now, last week, right about this time, I said I set up this astonishgeek.com/WP3 for the WordPress Session 3 class. And I said I'm going to have comments in there. And I think I must have broken my page template because I'm always editing the code. And I went in there, and it was never part of my theme to have comments on a page. And I looked at this last night for the first time because I want to have comments on these pages. And it's kind of bad. It's a premium theme, and I never noticed it because I had never wanted comments on a page. I can use them on posts and for, say, the blog part, but now I want them on the page. So I put it in. I got it in there, but it was getting into the PHP code and working on my theme. So sometimes it's a fail on your theme and not you. And it just, not to get too hard on yourself, this was a theme fail. Okay, it's 1. I want to make sure we have time for the SEO plugin. It's really important to do an SEO plugin.
Could you say just a little bit about updates? So updates of WordPress, updates of the themes, updates of plugins.
Very good. That's something I hadn't touched on. WordPress updates pretty often, fairly often. They'll roll out new features. They'll fix bugs. They'll close some security thing that got missed that should have been fixed. You're using WordPress 3.5.1. That is it'll show you what version number, and if there's a newer version, it will have something at the top to update your version. It's pretty important to keep your WordPress up to date. When you have plugins that need to be updated, you'll see I have one plugin that needs to be updated. It's Jetpack by WordPress.com. It just came with my auto install on HostGator. It's good to keep things up to date. I don't update WordPress within the first week or two after a new version, because if there's something messed up, I want other people to find it and suffer the consequences. I'll wait a week or two. Or I have some sites, I confess, I'm really slow about updating because I just get busy and I haven't done it. And it's running. I shouldn't do that, but I think we all get busy. But it's a good idea to keep things up to date.
All right, so